'cause I'm a weatherman. Oh, my thunderstrike, ride out the storm, I'm a weatherman. Oh, my bringing light, shake up the world, I'm a weatherman.
Try to set a destination on Curva. Once you set a destination, then you want to spool up your quantum drive and aim as close as possible at Curva's location.
Copy. Spooled up and locked. Do we need to be...
Then what you want to do is to kind of level your ship such that it's the planet is right beneath your ship, and then you want to kind of translate the camera to the back of your ship and looking direct at the Stanton star.
Okay, so the camera will have to be at the nose of our ship looking backwards at the star.
Or you could, move the camera to the back of your ship by just holding F4 and pressing the up arrow keys. Just move it to the rear end. So basically you won't see the ship in your view.
Yes,
you just want to see the eclipse.
Yep, we are really, really slow. What's the button to rotate clockwise the camera?
I think it would be holding Z, or toggle Z. Either it's holding or toggle. But that should rotate, let you to kind of decouple the camera's rotation from the ship's, where the nose of the ship is pointing.
Okay, we are looking directly at the star from the rear of the ship.
And then what you want to do is probably zoom a few levels in by holding F4 and the number pad minus, so that you get a larger view of the star in your viewport. And once you're ready, then you may hit initiate quantum drive.
Copy, preparing to jump. Jumping. Oh, that's cool. Oh. It's a total eclipse. Stand by. We're going to screenshot that.
Enjoy.
That is absolutely beautiful. And it looks like Hurston's burning.
Yeah, almost an ionized, atmospheric layer. You see all of these kind of air glow.
One second, wait. We got to do our intro. Wow. Always with Deep Space Crew, we get so geeked out that we always screw up our intro. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your Fast Forecast. We are proud to come today once again with Deep Space Crew, and once again they have completely blown us away. Uh, y'all have seen any solar eclipse here on Hurston long before y'all heard us give our intro, because Deep Space Crew have once again completely left us speechless, which for a news agency is really hard to do. Dr. Buffon, if you would please tell us what we're seeing here, and please tell us, well, just tell us.
Sure, more than happy to. Um, your current location is what we call the umbra focal point, where the kind of the shadow zone converges. At that exact point, you'll see a total eclipse. So once you're kind of traveling a few hundred kilometers outward, basically straight away from the planet, um, then you'll see just a very thin uh, ring all around the planet, and that's called the annular eclipse. Um, at at that exact point, um, you'll see almost an ionized, atmospheric layer of Hurston. Um, think what they call this is a phenomenon called irregular. Um, and interestingly, if because the star technically wasn't um, a fully round object. It was a polygon. So the way how these light rays uh, kind of renders and shine through these atmospheric layer, um, at certain distance, you might see what they call Bailey beads. Um, Basically, a large glare at just a few spots along these the curvature of the planet, um, due to the uneven kind of surface of the Stanton star, and you could almost see um, the the volumetric cloud layer still present at this distance. Mm, Besides that, it's just truly breathtaking.
It truly is. Oh, that's a. We might have found Anvil a new picture. Hold on. So, how did you come across this phenomenon? And just basically, for those who don't know, Deep Space Crew is the same crew who showed us that you could travel from Crusader into Stanton. How did you come
I think I
across this?
lost your voice.
Oh, terribly sorry. So, Deep Space Crew is the same crew that showed us you can travel from Crusader into Stanton. So, how did you come across this?
Initially, our mission wasn't uh, intended for seeing an eclipse. About 3 months ago, we were trying to develop an offline simulation um, of the entire Hurston planet with all the planetary textures, as well as point of interests, and accurate to a point that it also syncs up with the in-game time. Um, um, and using some open source softwares. And what we discovered was that, oh, well, if that was possible, and then typically, in any games, usually the engine doesn't render objects that's that far away, but it's star system. So we wondered, um, what if we could truly see an eclipse, um, and by the help of that building that simulation engine, we were able to accurately calculate and predict the exact time and position that we need to be, and calculate all sorts of navigational instructions and basically simulate the entire mission itinerary in the offline engine. And then we start to design the actual mission, and we prepared for another month. Some by the help of our crew, our archivist Delori, he did some trials missions and then prepared a very thorough, comprehensive logistics list. And then we on June 4th, the mission took place, and on in the same day, well, we reached our initial destination, and everybody on board was surprised because it actually happened. Like you could actually see an eclipse, and all the objects are actually rendered, even though you're that far away from it. And the light rays, they go through the atmospheric layer just as expected, just as our simulation showed. So we were just speechless at the point when we finally hit our destination, by traveling for 10 hours straight on a single server. And we had 12 crews and 6 rotating on board. So the idea of that mission was trying to achieve this in the most immersive ways possible, that matches up with final sources of vision without too much overhead, and trying to demonstrate that these genuine sandboxed exploration-based experiences are already possible even in the current environment, current stage of it. So that's the whole idea behind this mission. And I would like to show you some of our mission infographics.
Of course,
Not sure
please
if
do.
you could. Not sure if you could see my desktop stream.
Stand by. Oh, we're getting feedback. Hold on just a second. Test, test. Nope, still feedback. Test, test. Perfect.
Okay. Let me know if you want to. Yes, let me actually just put this at a full screen so it will show up a little bit better.
We are showing no one else in the lounge. Oh, yeah.
Back.
Oh, there we go.
Let me know if you could see
Yeah,
the
we
stream
can.
clearly.
Yes, we can see Miss Schmengel.
Perfect. So, I would just go straight into showing you a simplified version of our simulation that will explain things visually and much cleaner than words. As you can see, that this is running almost kind of 10 times faster than the in-game time, but it's pretty self-explanatory from this infographic. This entire mission, we break it we broke it apart into 3 stages. Stage 1 we call the launch point position. All it does was trying to locate any launch. Well, we handpicked, but we picked one launch point that was very unique. That was on the largest ocean of Hurston, and also on an island. And then that island had a volcano, and inside that volcano has a kind of a small water. Could call it lake. If you're on foot, that's like a lake if you're on foot scale. So basically, a lake inside of a volcano opening, and then that volcano is on an island, and the island is in the largest Hurston Ocean. So we handpick a launch point, a very beautiful view as well. So
Doctor,
from that launch point,
we
yeah.
this is not showing up on our feed. We can see it, but our viewers won't be able to. Is there any way you could drop this on YouTube and send? We want to continue to record this audio, but whenever you get done, will you send us the a link to this so we can clip it into the feed as you talk, and we'll just match it up later and just run this.
Sure. Are you able to see this, or
Oh,
are
yeah,
you able
yeah.
to record this right now?
Yeah, well, we can record the audio, but the
But not the. Okay.
yeah. So we'll just
Okay.
what we'll
Yeah,
do is
sure.
we'll record your audio, and then when you send us the link to the what we're seeing on the screen, we'll match the two and in post.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that works.
Good deal.
Just a second to make sure. Just don't. So as you could see from this infographic, the stage 1 was called launch point position. We took off from the launch point, and then we went straight away from the planet till we hit this what we call the geosynchronous decoupling point. That was at the edge of physics grid, this rotating physics grid. And then that was the second stage, basically. It's called geosynchronous decoupling. So what we had to do was to wait perfect timing, perfect window to step outside of the physics grid. And when the planet is exactly facing, or when that geosynchronous decoupling point is rotated to the point where it's exactly opposite from the center star. And then we'll step outside of that rotating physics grid and keep traveling towards that direction until, just want to zoom out a little bit, until that umbra focal point. From this distance, you can clearly see the convergence of that shadow zone. And then at that exact point, you'll see a total eclipse. If you keep traveling away just a little bit, you'll see the Stanton star backdrop starts to appear and illuminate the atmospheric layer Hurston. So that's kind of the mission simulation of the itineraries, and that could also show you a little bit, how we did it on a single ship. So you can see we designed a very comprehensive mission manual. We had, in order to make everything go smoothly, we had to prepare and educate our crews exact steps and what's happening, and we had even though at the current stage there's not really a distinguishment between different positions on board a multi-crew ship, besides turret operators probably, and we actually designed 6 core crew positions and assigned tasks for them to do throughout the entire journey. So for one, keep them busy and entertained. 2, gather enough of materials and information for us to do analysis later on. We had a scientist who was basically taking a time lapse, of key moments on a fixed interval with very high resolution camera, and always look back to those images and do some really close and magnify those images and do analysis on. We had an archivist who was logging in every single event that was happening on board the ship during the journey, such as someone's injury or generic mission status. We had a load master who was in charge of inventory control and logging ins and outs of traffic going from our onboard storage containers. And then by doing that, we'll be able to do analysis later on for crew consumptions and see how much water and how much food each crew has consumed, kind of gather interesting data. And we also break apart the mission into every little single steps and tasks and down to the minutes, because it has to be so accurate that when it's like in real life rocket launch. If today's weather is not good enough, then we'll try tomorrow. And for us, it would be we have to hit that perfect timing to decouple from the physics grid. In order to do that, we used our simulation engine, and because the in-game show location or the in-game art display info doesn't really show milliseconds, so we have to clamp it down to seconds accuracy, and then every hour we calibrate our model with the in-game time so that it syncs up more precise and accurate. So that's basically that was the job of our navigator. And then we broke apart these stages into all of these small tasks, and it has to be has to be completed in a very timely fashion, due to the reason I mentioned above. And yeah, it's a lot of things to do to make it right in one time, first time. To see that we had tons of steps, and then the final stage, which is called deep space probing. As you can see, that it's basically the most boring stages. You're just gonna keep flying for 3 hours, 47 minutes, and 23 seconds straight. So we actually designed our own little kind of onboard Among Us game to surprise our crew and keep them entertained. We also had progress tracker to kind of keep tracking of our save points after we finish the mission. And then we had, each crew has their own outfit, can distinguish each other very well. Had a very comprehensive preparation checklist, both for personal and for our logistics on board the same ship. All these load out for ships. We designed a very thorough ship orientation, some safety rules, prohibited area such as ear holes and places that are dangerous to stand on when the ship is in motion. We had some station assignment because we had rotating crews, so we had to actually assign dedicated beds to each crew, such that when they log back in, they don't interfere with you. And because the ship is always in motion and flying at its fastest speed, and whenever there's something happening and we need to kind of change or do fine course adjustment, we'll have to call everyone back into the seat to be seated, so you get thrown around the ship. That we assigned stations to each crew, make sure they know which position to get to when we call that. We also had storage assignment. Just give me one moment for jumping out. We also had storage assignment. We prepared personal storage for each crew, as you can see. We also had medical storage in the doctor's room and medical supply uh, storage room. We had food and drinks placed in these in the mess hall. We even had garbage bins because for someone who is like running low on active status on hydration, they want to grab a drink very quickly. So our load master always prepare ready-made food and drinks and put them on open table, easy access. But that often will be will confuse people if you just leave garbage around. No one knows which one's consumed, which one is not. So we kindly ask our crew to deposit their consumed food and drinks into the garbage bins, so it doesn't confuse anybody. Also had engineering supplies, ammo crates. We prepared tons of pink flares for fun reasons as well as science reasons. You see, we prepared quite a lot of things. Yeah, we also designed our own mission logging format, uh, can parse easily in the post. And our archivist, Delory, actually took his time to do a trial mission and prepared a very thorough and long report, as you can see. All the details, what kind of loadout we should use, as well as what kind of food and drinks would be the best for this scenario. Yeah, tested in game, so it matches up the actual scenario. Yeah, that is everything that I wanted to introduce about the progress.
We would like to point out to the citizens who are both watching and listening to this that Deep Space Crew actually runs these missions. They actually do the prep, they do the math, they do the science. They figure out how much food, drink, fuel is required for each of this. They actually staff it and do the pre flight. So we've seen this. They treat this legitimately. This isn't just something that they say, "Hey, we're going to do this." They go through the planning stages, as you can see when we post this up. Um, there's steps they go through. They have, load masters. They have flight crew. They have support crew. Everyone has a job. Everyone knows their job. Um, they go through this step by step, and they even, as you saw with the waste buckets and everything, they even go through and assure that they have a clean and tidy work environment. So they handle this with utmost professionalism, and as one of these slides show, they they travel these distances in real time using ion drives. So just to get to this point, you're looking at almost 4 hours of real space travel. Whereas when they traveled from Crusader to Stanton, they stayed in chair for a little over a month. So that shows the dedication to science that Deep Space Crew puts into this.
Yes, yes, we're a definitely a group of very dedicated and hardcore explorers, and our focus and goal is trying to foster this kind of genuine sandbox exploration based experiences, even in the current stage of the game.
We just it's always a an honor to interview Deep Space Crew because as our listeners see, we geek out whenever we interview y'all because we're science geeks and we always have been, we always will be, and just seeing the science that y'all put out, it's amazing the thought you put into it. This isn't a hop in a carrick and go. It's okay. Let's make sure we have food. Let's make sure we have water. Does everyone have you know proper air supplies? Okay, is the flight deck clear? do we have uh, proper trajectories? Because we're not going to just spin around and jump somewhere. We are traveling there because we don't know where we're jumping to. There's not an orbital marker where we're going. We have to get there the long way.
Yes. Right. That being said, now once you enjoyed enough of the annular eclipse, the next step would be traveling towards where cosmic melody is. That it's very uh, self-explanatory. Before you initiate the quantum drive, uh, take a look behind your ship, kind of translate the camera to the rear end of the ship again, zoom all the way in, and you'll see what will happen
Understood. Stand by.
once you start.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. We're glad we recorded that because that happened so fast that you just miss it if you blink.
Well, the whole point of having these save points is that um, you could easily stop your quantum drive in the middle and choose your own flavor of the rings. That's why I suggested a flat drive instead of the slowest stage 1 accelerator.
Oh, yeah, we're running a civilian, whatever the terrapin comes with.
Remember one that has fault, but it should still work once you kind of go back towards where Curva is. Oh, I think it will have. Yeah, we'll ask you once you set a destination Curva, we'll have to warp back to the planet, and then it will let you to go towards Curva again. But one more trip, one more route trip to see the the perfect annular eclipse right at the Umbra focal point.
Okay, where are we going?
Going back towards Curva, and then cut jump in the middle, so it will. You could choose your own flavor of the rings, like, and control the width of the ring. By dropping out in the middle of between where Curva is and where Cosmic Melody is.
Okay, here we go. That happens so quick if you just blink. That's amazing. It's kind of addictive to go back and forth and just find the perfect vision. And the fact that y'all did this over and over to figure out these two spots.
Yeah, feel free. By the end of our tour, feel free to stay in a server and just gather whatever materials and screenshots you need by traveling between these points. They'll be in the game for quite some time. And once you're happy with this, and there's one final route that you can travel to, which is in between where Curva is and Microtech 01.
Okay.
That
we'll jump to Curva.
will show you. Sure. That will show you a partial eclipse happening in real time. Well, actually, in very short amount of time. So it basically, you don't have to go all the way to microtech 1. All you need to do is to kind of once you see the partial eclipse, you can the quantum drive drop out in the middle.
Okay, from Curva we're going to Microtech.
Microtech L1. Yes.
Okay, and just keep the camera on the sun.
Yep. Keep looking at the sun and zoom all the way in.
Oh, zoom all the way in?
Yeah.
Will do. That's just really eerie to look at. Preparing to jump and jumping. Oh wow, watching it come out of the shadow of Hurston.
Yep. And you can cut jump and then try to go back to Curva so you can see the reverse of it.
We're seeing the sun broken down into a red and blue spectrum. That's interesting. It looks like there's
The
two of them.
Doppler effect. I think they incorrectly designed the Doppler effects on the Stanton star. The site that is coming towards you should be shifting towards blue, and then the site that's going away from you should be showing red. But
That's
seems
what we
like
thought.
it's inverted.
Yeah, it looks like Stanton's a binary.
But it does well when you QT between Curva and Cosmic, the Hurston planet does render correct. That shows you the correct Doppler. If you're going away from it, it shows you red. Going towards it shows the blue shift.
Well, do you have any other amazing things to show us tonight? This has been absolutely beautiful.
I think that'd be all. And feel free to stay here and jump between these points. And hope you enjoyed.
Well, Doctor, we appreciate it, and we appreciate all Deep Space Crew has done and continues to do. Anytime y'all have news for us, anytime y'all make a new discovery, we will give you front page as always. Please feel free as soon as you drop your information over onto YouTube to send us a link. We will cut it and insert it so that your data matches what you were telling us, and we are just very excited by all this.
Sure, will do.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And from all of us here at Fast Forecast and Deep Space Crew, we wish all of you a very pleasant night.
Oh yeah, 'cause I'm a weatherman. Oh, my thunderstrike, ride out the storm, I'm a weatherman.